What's going on, guys? It is Will here, back again, once again, for another episode of the Gridiron Talk podcast, week 14, episode 4. I hope you guys all had a great week this week and last week. Pretty fun games to watch of football. If you guys didn't see, we got some couple upsets with Washington beating the Steelers, a couple teams clinching a playoff berth, such as the Saints and the Chiefs. But with all of that, overall, very fun games to watch, very good games to watch as well. Unfortunately, my cousin Nick is not here for this episode of the podcast. He's busy with work and he's doing all that. So Nick was taking, I think, a week off, maybe 2. I don't really know. Hopefully we get to see Nick sooner rather than later. But Nick did give me all of his picks for the games this week, so we keep our records entwined. But even though Nick is not here, I am not alone. If you see in Skype, we see Derek Carr. All right, look. I am with my friend Joey Christmas, a.k.a. Mahomes. Joey, why don't you introduce yourself? Introduce yourself, man.
Okay, I'm 17 years old. My name's Joey Christmas. And, I always wanted to be on this podcast. I'm a big fan of it. And, Will does a good job with it and everything like that. And, I love watching it. So I'm glad I could be a part of it.
Awesome. And tell the viewers why your nickname is Mahomes.
Because in gym class, I would throw the football very far. And I had the Mahomes haircut, had the whole Mahomes look. So, and people didn't really call me by Joey. They just call me by Mahomes. So,
Yep. So, and also, if you guys have seen, Joey is doing the thumbnails for my videos. So a big shout out to him for doing that. They look great. If you look at my past videos, all those thumbnails and all of the ones in the future and this one, he will be doing the thumbnail. So a big shout out to Joey for doing that. Thank you so much. They look great. They look awesome.
No problem.
But with that being said, let's get into it. The first game of the week, Thursday, tomorrow, is the New England Patriots and the LA Rams. The Patriots are 6-6, and the Rams are 8-4. So this is going to be a very good game. Both of these teams are fighting for their playoff chances. The Rams are in first in the NFC West due to a tiebreaker, and the Patriots are clawing their way to try to get the wild card spot in the AFC. And this is also a rematch of 2 previous Super Bowls, a rematch of Super Bowl 36 from like almost 20 years ago, which is weird, and Super Bowl 53, which just happened 2 years ago. And the weird thing is that Tom Brady is not here for the Patriots. Obviously, Cam Newton's at home. But the Rams team is mostly the same. There's some different players, like Ty Gurley's not there, Brandon Cooks isn't there, but mostly a somewhat very similar team that the Rams made it to the Super Bowl. Joey, do you have anything to add on to this game with the Patriots and the Rams?
Like you said, it's a Super Bowl rematch, but, it's kind of weird seeing Cam Newton playing at QB for the Patriots, but I'm pretty excited to watch it, and it should be a pretty good game.
It should be a pretty good game. It's one of the best games of the week, in my opinion. I think it's going to be fun to watch, very defensive, but also might be some sparks of offense because of some key players like Cam Newton for the Patriots, Damian Harris as well. And for the LA Rams, we got Goff, Cook, not Cook's my fault, Robert Woods, Kupp, a lot of playmakers on defense too, like J.C. Jackson and Gilmore for the Patriots, and Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey for the Rams. So overall, a very good matchup. This is going to be a fun game to watch.
Definitely.
With that being said, Joey, let's get into your boom of the week. Who is your boom and why this week?
So my boom for the week is the Rams defense. And the reason why I said the Rams is because, Cam Newton only completes 61% of his passes. That's not great. That's not a great percentage. I just don't think he's going to be able to, go off this week. He's got to go against Aaron Donald in the defense. And, I think LA's going to come away with a win. So I just don't think he's going to do much.
I can see that. Even Cam Newton, when he was in his prime 5 years ago when he won the MVP, Cam Newton has never been an accurate passer. As much as I love Cam Newton, he's never been more of like that Tom Brady-like player. It's kind of weird how their offense completely changed with Cam Newton. Obviously, Tom Brady won't do a read option or QB runs. He's definitely a pocket passer, as we all know. And either love or hate Tom Brady, we know that that's his motif, that's his mojo. But Cam Newton is definitely not a pure pocket passer. If he's just more of a scrambling, running guy. Obviously, if you watch Cam Newton, he's really good hitting people short, but he doesn't. I don't think he really has the accuracy deep. But with that being said, Cam Newton is still my boom of the week. If you guys have listened to the podcast before, I am a big fan of Cam Newton. I've always loved him. I think he has great swagger. I think he has a great story. If it wasn't for Alex Smith, I would say Cam Newton would be the comeback player of the year, especially coming off that bad injury he had last year. Not as bad as Alex Smith, but still a pretty bad injury. With that being said, I think he's going to boom this week because he still has a lot to prove, especially if he leads the Patriots to the playoffs. I think people are really doubting Cam Newton, so he wants to prove to people that he's still a very good quarterback. Who is your bust this week, Joey, and why?
So my bust this week is James White, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. He was in my fantasy league. He was kind of riding my bench. He probably had like one good game out of all the weeks he's been playing, and he's just not getting it done, and he's getting replaced by Damian Harris, so he's not getting many touches, and he's not going to go off.
I could see that. I agree with you. He's only had one good game, and Damian Harris is definitely showing that he is the future of the running backs in New England. My bust is Robert Woods. He's been having a pretty good year as the Rams' second wide receiver, but I think he'll have a bad game because he'll be shadowed by either Stephon Gilmore or J.C. Jackson, who are both very good corners. So I don't think Woods will have that separation and I guess the explosiveness, that he will usually have. So with that being said, Joey, who is your pick to win this week in this game and why?
I got the Rams winning 20-24. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the Rams defense. Aaron Darnold. They're gonna put up a fight against Cam Newton. I think it's gonna be close. I think, and like I said, like we said, it's gonna be a great game, a good game to watch. It's gonna be competitive. So that's my pick.
I agree with you 100%, man. I think it's going to be a good game. However, I disagree with the fact that you think the Rams are going to win. I think the Patriots are going to win 30 to 23. Excuse me. It's going to be a fun game to watch, especially on Thursday night. Good fun game. But yeah, I still think the Patriots are going to pull ahead with this one. And Nick's pick for the week is he, surprisingly, as much as he hates Cam Newton, he's also picking the Patriots to win this game 24 to 21. So yeah, me and Nick got the Patriots, and Joey has the Rams. So there's the first game done. With the next game going up for the normal Sunday schedule, we have the Tennessee Titans at 8-4 and the Jacksonville Jaguars at 1-11, an AFC South matchup. Joey, do you want to talk us into this one and give us the synopsis of this matchup?
Sure. So Titans need to bounce back. They need to stay on top of the AFC South. The way they're playing right now, they need to bounce back. You know what I mean? And talking about the Jaguars, it's really frustrating to be a Jaguars fan. If you're a Jaguars fan, you hate what you're seeing right now. Minshew is frustrated right now. He's not starting. He played the first game of the season and he won. And he's eligible to play. He's been eligible to play for the last few weeks. I'm pretty sure, and he just hasn't been playing. And Jacksonville they just can't find the right QB, and nothing's really working for him. So it's gonna be really tough this week for Jacksonville. So yeah, that's what I gotta say about him.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I feel like Gardner Minshew, he is definitely irritated that he's not starting, which I understand because he was supposed to be their starter, possibly of the future. I mean, he's only a second-year guy, and now he's getting benched, and now most likely the Jaguars are taking a quarterback in the first round, whether that be Lawrence or Justin Fields, whoever it may be. It's looking like Minshew Mania is going to be leaving Jacksonville, which sucks because he's a meme, but he's definitely still, I would say, a decent quarterback with his mustache and stuff. With that being said, he does have a nice mustache. That's really baller. Gardner Minshew. With that being said, my boom is Derrick Henry. He had a rough week last week. He only carried for like 60 yards, and he also had a fumble. So he definitely needs to bounce back, especially against a weak Jaguars defense. And I don't think he will bounce back. I think the whole entire Titans as a whole will bounce back. Their defense, their offense, everything for the Titans will just bounce back, and they're going to be clicking on all cylinders this week. What about you, Joey? Who do you think's going to boom this week?
I got Ryan Tannehill, but I totally agree with you. He was talking about the whole Tennessee Titans, playing good this week. and they didn't play that bad last week against Cleveland. I know they lost, but they still played fairly well. So I feel like they're really going to take advantage of the Jacksonville defense. Their poor defense. I feel like they're going to take advantage of that, and they're going to put up a good fight, and they're going to win. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I agree. And they did dig themselves into a hole deep or early with Cleveland, but they actually did claw back. I think they only lost by like one touchdown. So the Titans, like I said, they clawed back. They almost did pull off a crazy comeback, but it was just too little, too late. But like we both said, this is no better game to bounce back than against the second worst team in the league.
Exactly.
With that being said, Joey, who was your bust this week for this game and why?
So my bust this week is a Jacksonville quarterback, Mike Glennon. So like I said earlier, Jacksonville is having troubles right now with their QB situation. I don't think they found the one yet, and he's definitely not going to play well. I don't feel like he clicks well with this offense, and I don't think he might ever will. So
I agree with you 100%. Mike Glennon is definitely not the answer long term for the Jaguars. He's definitely just there until they get a young quarterback like either, like I said, Lawrence or Fields. And for that reason, Mike Glennon is also my bust of the week. He's a poor quarterback with little weapons around him. Obviously, James Robinson, the running back, is very good. If you've listened to the podcast, me and Nick we like him a lot. But besides him and maybe DJ Chark, he doesn't have any weapons. And especially with a poor quarterback like him, it's going to be really tough for him. It's going to be rough. So with that being said, Joey, who is your pick this week and why for this game?
All right, I got the Titans winning 37-20. And maybe I was a little generous with Jacksonville getting 20, but I feel like Titans are going to come in and they're going to beat them pretty badly. Like I said, they're playing pretty good. I know they lost last week, but they still played well. And against this Jacksonville defense, they're just going to show up and everybody's going to have a good game. I feel like.
My pick to win this game is also the Titans. I'm picking them to win 31-21. I agree with everything Joey said. I think they're going to be clicking on all cylinders. This is going to be a good statement win for Tennessee and a good way to get right back on track. And Nick's pick, he also believes the Titans are going to win. Nick says Titans 21-17. So we all think the Titans are going to win. Next game is another very good game. I know the last one, the Jaguars and Titans might not be too exciting, but this one definitely will be, is the Minnesota Vikings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Vikings are 6-6. They are on a roll, and the Buccaneers are 7-5, and they're coming off the bye week after losing 2 in a row to the Rams and then the Chiefs. So, with that being said, this is the current 6 and 7 seeds in the NFC. The Buccaneers are the 6th seed, and the Vikings are the 7th seed. And the Buccaneers are trending down, and the Vikings are trending up. This is going to be a very good game for seeding-wise. Obviously, if the Vikings win, these two teams will flip playoff spots. And the Buccaneers, low-key, might not make the playoffs, which is weird, especially with arguably the greatest quarterback of all time running it, Tom Brady. It's kind of weird. I don't remember the last time I never saw a Tom Brady team in the playoff. It's been a while. I don't remember the last time the Patriots missed it. But the Buccaneers are definitely not looking too good. They lost to the Rams and they got lost to the Chiefs. But maybe the bye week is what they needed to maybe focus mentally and prepare themselves for this game against Minnesota. What do you think about this game, Joey, with the Vikings and the Buccaneers?
It's a pretty interesting game. Like I said, there's a lot of great games to watch this week, and this is one of them. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see this game going either way personally, but I feel like Tom Brady doesn't. He knows he's in a slump. He wants something to prove. He wants to prove that he's not a system QB in New England, and he wants to say that I'm still Tom Brady. I still have it, and I am still a good quarterback. So with that being said, Joey, who is your boom this week and why?
So my boom this week is Mike Evans, and the reason why is he's Tom Brady's main target. When Tom Brady's going to someone, he's usually going to Gronk or Mike Evans, and I feel like he's going to have himself a day. What was that?
Yeah, I agree with you. You said when Ray's looking at Pats, you said either Gronk or Evans or also Chris Godwin too. We can't forget about him.
Oh, right.
Chris Godwin's also very good. And to a lesser extent, Antonio Brown, he's been kind of quiet since he signed with them. But I would say his top 3 targets are, I agree with you, Mike Evans, Gronk, and Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
With that being said, and also Mike Evans is, he got a lot. I think he scored twice against the Chiefs. he is definitely the red zone target. He has a lot of touchdowns this year. He is definitely the big red zone threat. I would say him and Rob Gronkowski are the two red zone guys that Brady looks for because they're just bigger guys. Obviously, Gronk is a tight end, but Mike Evans is bigger for a receiver. I would say his frame,
he's
his
big and
stature.
fast. Yeah, he's big and fast.
Exactly.
He can get the ball.
And Mike Evans, exactly. And Mike Evans also has 11 touchdowns this year, which is also very good, especially with 4 games to play. Mike Evans might hit like 15 or 16 touchdowns, which is very good. My boom, as much as it pains me to say this, is Tom Brady. He has not played well recently, but he gets this chance to shine coming off of a bye week. I saw this meme where it's like, I never see Brady have a couple bad games in a row. Like, kind of like I've never seen two pretty best friends. It's the same thing here. Like, I've never seen Tom Brady have bad games multiple weeks in a row. And I think this is his time to shine against a somewhat weaker Vikings defense. I mean, I know they got Harrison Smith, and what's his name? Kendricks, the linebacker. But besides those two, the Vikings defense has definitely taken a couple hits recently, especially with Xavier Rhodes leaving, Everson Griffin leaving, and Danielle Hunter being out for the season with an injury. So Brady will prove that he has still got it, like I've said before, and that the Buccaneers are going to move one step closer to clinching a playoff spot and improve from last year too. If they win this game, they will be 8-5, and last year they were 7-9. So obviously they'll improve from last year. Who is your bust this week, Joey, and why?
So my bust this week, a lot of people might disagree with me, but I'm going to go with Dalvin Cook. Not because I'm playing against him in fantasy, but because Tampa has a really good run defense. So I feel like they're gonna slump down a little bit. He's been playing good every single game, and I feel like this is the time where he slows down a little bit and doesn't get the numbers he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I completely agree with you. Tampa does have a good run defense. My bust is not Dalvin Cook, but it is another Vikings player. I'm going with Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins has that big contract. I know Nick briefly mentioned it last week. He has not played up to his contract yet. His contract numbers prove that he should be like Aaron Rodgers level or Mahomes level, but he's just not there. As much as I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, he is just above average at best. And I think he'll struggle against the Buccaneers. He seems like he's very hit or miss, and this will be his week where he misses. So with all the facts on the table, Joey, who is your pick to win this game and why?
My pick for this week is the Buccaneers beating the Vikings 21-17. It's gonna be close. There's gonna be a lot of close games this week, but I just got them winning. I feel like they're the better team in this. In
this situation.
Yeah, in this situation,
I can see that.
Like you said, the defense for the Vikings is weak. Tom Brady's. He wants, like you said, he wants to redeem himself. You know what I mean? So I think it's gonna happen.
I agree with you. I also think Tampa Bay is going to win 24-21, and I agree with everything you said that Tom Brady is going to redeem himself. The Vikings defense is not as good as it should be, and that the Buccaneers need a statement win to stay ahead in the NFC wildcard hunt. Nick disagrees with both of us. Nick thinks the Vikings are going to win 27-20, mainly because of Dalvin Cook. So with that being said, the next game we have is the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. The Chiefs are 11-1, and the Dolphins are 8-4. Joey, why don't you lead us into this one with the Chiefs and the Dolphins?
Yep. So this is a very, very interesting matchup. You have the Chiefs. They have like the best offense in the league. Nobody's denying that. And the Dolphins have one of the best defenses in the league. So you got like one of the best defenses and like one of the best offenses. It's like, it's going to be a very interesting game, see what happens and everything like that. So I'm very excited if I can watch this game. And also, another great matchup.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100%. The Chiefs, obviously, I think, like you said, most people are not denying they have one of the best offenses in the league. And the Dolphins have a very underrated defense. However, I feel like the Dolphins' defense won't be enough to contain the Chiefs. I just think the Chiefs' offense is way too good. We saw what the Chiefs did to the 49ers last year in the Super Bowl. I think it's a similar thing, I mean, everyone watched the Super Bowl. I thought the 49ers were going to win, and Patrick Mahomes just is the magician that he is, and he led that team to victory. And Mahomes is obviously the MVP frontrunner, and he's having a very good season, and I think that will continue in Miami. Do you have anything else to add to that, Joey? Or
No, it's pretty good. I thought it's interesting. You just got to see how it plays out. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I can see that. It will be a fun game to watch, though. No, don't get me wrong. I don't think the Chiefs are going to blow out the Dolphins. It will be a good game.
Yeah, I just.
Oh, go ahead, Joey. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. So yeah, like you said, like if Miami had a better offense to more compete more, like it would be a lot closer. But I agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, Joey, who is your boom of the week and why?
So my boom for the week is Travis Kelce. He came off last week with a great performance, and he's a big target. He's a big, fast target, and he's probably the best tight end in the league. I mean, that's just one of the best tight end, probably top three. And Mahomes is going to get the ball in this week. I guarantee it, against this Miami defense, and expect him to go off.
Yeah, and I forgot to say, if both of these teams are coming off wins, the Chiefs beat the Broncos last week on Sunday night, and the Dolphins beat – who did the Dolphins beat? Oh, the Bengals. They beat the Bengals. So both of these teams are coming off wins. With that being said, my boom is Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is arguably the fastest man in the NFL. He's a track star. Literally, he is a track star. He's super fast, and I don't feel like any corner can truly guard him. Not even Xavier Howard, who's very good, and Byron Jones, who's also very good. If Tyreek Hill can burn Richard Sherman, who I know is older, I still feel like he can burn Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. It's simple. What about your bust, Joey? Who do you think's in the bust in this game?
My bust is the rookie QB for the Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa. I'm gonna see. We're gonna see a lot of mistakes from this game. You know what I mean. I feel like he's gonna be kind of nervous. Playing against Mahomes, and the Chiefs. So I feel like he's gonna panic and he's gonna make some decisions. He's he's gonna regret. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was funny how you said that. Tua Tagovailoa.
I think I typed it wrong.
I don't blame you, man. It's definitely an odd name. It's kind of like Antetokounmpo in the NBA, Giannis. Most people just call him Tua. Most people don't even call him Tagovailoa. They don't say his last name. But speaking of Tua, he is my bust. Tagovailoa he's a game manager right now. I mean, that's not a bad thing. He's still a rookie, but he's more so leaning on his defense to win games, which I said is not bad. That's how Tom Brady started in his couple years when he first became the starter in New England. But like Joey said, he is still a rookie and he will still make mistakes. Whether with Mahomes getting out to like a quick 14-point lead or whatever, or he will just fumble the ball or or throw a couple picks. He's still a rookie and he is not mistake free. So with all of that being said, Joey, who is your pick to win this game against the Chiefs and the Dolphins, and why?
So I got the Chiefs winning 24-21. Yes, it may seem a little close, but I feel like there's gonna be. I just feel like it's gonna be a good matchup. You know what I mean? I feel like the Chiefs are overdue to have that close game where like they're almost gonna lose, where like they're not. You know what I mean? So I got them winning still, but it's gonna be close.
Yeah, I also have the Chiefs winning. I think it's going to be a little bit bigger of a deficit, though. I think the Chiefs are going to win 27-17, mainly because of Patrick Mahomes, and he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now, no question.
Not Trace McSorley.
Also, not Trace McSorley, no. not the man who throws it on a dime.
Man.
Lastly, Nick's pick is also the Chiefs. He has the Chiefs winning 20-13, again, due to Patrick Mahomes, Kelce, and Hill. So, guys, there is that one. Next one, let's move right on to the next one. We have the Broncos and the Panthers. Now, these two teams are both 4-8. And let's just talk about this, Joey. Both of these teams have fallen from grace. They were both – this is a rematch of Super Bowl 50, which was 5 years ago? Yes, 5 years ago. And these teams are completely different, man. Peyton Manning obviously retired. Cam Newton is no longer in Carolina. And a loss essentially knocks the loser out of the playoff hunt. I don't know, theoretically one of them could lose and technically still be in it, but basically if one of them loses, it's over. I know for a fact with the Broncos, it's over because the 7th seed has 7 wins. So if they win and the Broncos lose, it's over for them. But the Panthers, they could still lose and still be in it. But it's literally such a slim chance it doesn't even matter. Excuse me. With that being said, this is a return of Christian McCaffrey, most likely. I don't want to you'd say that now, but Joey, correct me if I'm wrong, but he basically is like a 95% chance of playing, right?
Yeah, this morning he said he's feeling good, so I don't know what that means, but I'm pretty sure he's going to play.
Yeah, especially the Panthers also came off a bye week, just like Tampa Bay. That definitely helped the Christian McCaffrey owners in fantasy and just Carolina fans in general, because he should play. You never know with Matt Rule, the coach, he might be safe and just be like, yeah, just let's sit him for one more week, but he should play. But with that being said, before we get into our booms and busts, Joey, what do you think about this game being a rematch of Super Bowl 50? I know I kind of touched on it briefly, but like these teams have changed since then. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's definitely weird watching them. If you've been watching football for a while, and you're seeing this game 5 years later, it's very strange. Kind of like when you see, New England with Cam Newton as a QB. It's strange. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Carolina had Cam Newton as their franchise quarterback. It's definitely weird seeing him not in a Panthers jersey. And the Broncos have just been on a spiral since Peyton Manning retired. They haven't really been good since they won the Super Bowl, which is just unfortunate. But that's what happens when you build your team around free agents. When they retire or when you can't pay them, you just kind of suck until you rebuild from the ground up. So, with all that being said, who is your boom for this week and why, Joey, with the Panthers and the Broncos?
So my boom this week is if Christian McCaffrey plays, he will be the boom for this week, because I feel like that, he's just, he's been struggling with injuries this season and everything like that, but if he's feeling good like he said he is, I feel like he's going to come in this game and, put up some numbers and, hopefully, get the job done in Carolina.
I agree with you. He's definitely, I would personally say, the best running back in the league when he's healthy. So he will definitely completely switch the Panthers' whole entire offense if he does play. Me personally, I was going to pick Christian McCaffrey as my boom as well, but just in case he doesn't play, I'm saying Robbie Anderson, who has been playing great all season. He is, in my opinion, the top receiver there. He's overtaken DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel, and he was a great pickup for Carolina in free agency. Came from New York, and he was supposed to be like a good, solid number 2 or 3 receiver, but he has been having a great year, Joey. If you've been watching, he was a late draft pick for me in fantasy. I drafted him in like the 10th round, one of my last receivers I drafted, and it was a gold mine. He's been playing great. I could see him in the Pro Bowl. And Robbie Anderson, he sure is a good player, and he has connections with Matt Rule because they both were at Temple as Matt Rule was a coach there. So kudos to Robbie Anderson for basically revitalizing his career under the offense of Carolina and Matt Rule. So with all that being said, Joey, who is your bust this week and why?
So my bust this week is Drew Lock, the quarterback for the Broncos. I just don't like him. He doesn't play well. He's not explosive, and he's not going to be a long-term QB for the Broncos. You know what I mean? They're not what they need, and he's not going to go off.
I agree with you. Drew Lock is also my bust. He had a lot of hype coming into the season because he did play well at the end of last season. I know Cortland Sutton's injured, but he definitely has not played up to the hype at all this season. The Broncos were supposed to be potential playoff hopefuls with the new 7th seed being added, but Drew Lock is definitely gonna, in the future, the Broncos' success will depend on if Drew Lock is actually a franchise quarterback or not, because they do have the pieces, especially on defense with Von Miller, Justin Simmons, and AJ Bouye, he just got suspended for the rest of the year, AJ Bouye. But besides that, their defense is set. They just need to hope that Drew Lock is as good as people think.
Yeah, definitely.
So with all that being said, need some more weapons too. Yeah, I mean they got Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton's injured, but they do need and Noah Fant's pretty good. They're tight end, but I would say one more good receiver, and the Broncos I think will be a good team. They're just like one piece away, from being good.
Yeah.
So, Joey, with all that being said, who is your pick for this game and why?
Another close matchup, but I got the Panthers winning 20-17. I feel like if CMC plays, that he's going to go off, and I just see him getting the win. I'm saying I don't think Drew Lock is explosive enough to lead the Broncos to victory.
I agree with you. I also have Carolina winning this. I think they're going to win 24-14. If Christian McCaffrey does come back, that will be a good this will be a good game for him to play in and bounce back and get the rhythm of playing again after missing, I think, the last 2 or 3 games. And lastly, Nick also thinks Carolina's going to win. He thinks they will win 28-13, mainly due to their receivers like Anderson, Moore, DJ Moore, and Curtis Samuel. So our next game we got is the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears. The Houston Texans are 4-8, and the Chicago Bears are 5-7. Both of these teams are coming off losses. Joey, why don't you lead us into this one with the Texans and the Bears?
So yeah, both teams lost close games last week. You know, they're trying to salvage their season before it's too late and everything like that. And you know, I'm going to talk about the Browns a little bit. You know, they're really struggling on offense. You know, they lost so many games in a row, and they're just playing terrible. I'm so sorry, and that's what I have to say.
I just want to clarify. You mean the Bears, right?
Oh yes,
you said the Browns.
Yeah. Oh my bad.
Yeah,
I'm messing up a lot today.
No, you're good. No, it's all good. I just want to clarify. I don't want people to be confused. And this is also a battle of the 2017 draft class. If you guys remember, Mitch Trubisky was taken at number 2 overall, which was over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was actually the 3rd quarterback taken at like 12, and he's completely flipped around the Texans offense and their whole franchise. He is their franchise quarterback. With that being said, like you said, Joey, both of these teams are trying to salvage their season, and both teams lost close games last week. The Bears lost a heartbreaker to Detroit, and the Texans lost a close one to Indianapolis. They almost pulled off the upset. With that being said, Joey, who is your boom this week for the Texans and Bears, and why?
So I have Deshaun Watson for the Texans, and the reason why is because, you know, yeah, he's going up a good defense in the Bears, but I just feel like he's going to overcome that. You know, he's been playing, fairly well. I know the record doesn't show it, but he's been playing very well. And, you know, he's going to find his receivers, and I feel like he's going to make the right decisions, and he's going to come away with the W.
I agree with you 100%. Deshaun Watson is also my boom for this game. He is playing a somewhat tough defense, but he has been elite all season long. He is like 2nd in the league in passing yards, and he is definitely a top 3 quarterback in the AFC. I would argue only Patrick Mahomes is better than him, and then he is probably number 2. But he is definitely top 3. You could say that maybe Josh Allen's better than him, or maybe Ryan Tannehill. That's a hot take, but no question, Watson is definitely top 3 in the AFC. Who is your bust for this game, Joey, and why?
My bust is the entire Bears offense, especially Mitch Trubisky. And I just feel like they just don't connect well. Nothing works on offense. You know, it's painful to watch their offense play. Like, if you watch the Bears, it's just painful. You know what I mean? And they're just they're not gonna be able to connect anything. They're not gonna be able to do much.
So I know you said the whole Bears offense. What do you think about Allen Robinson? Because I mean, me and Nick, we both think highly of him. Do you think he's good, or do you think he is definitely not? What is your thoughts on Allen Robinson?
Well, you know, it's not necessarily like himself, but more like Mitch Trubisky, kind of a bust. You know, he's not been playing well. You know, the Bears in general are having a hard time picking out their quarterback. You know, they played Nick Foles for a while. You know, he didn't play well. They put Mitch Trubisky in. You know, he's not playing well, so they're really in a pickle right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think Allen Robinson is I know me and Nick said this last week. He is really the only good player on their offense, truly. It doesn't matter how good your receiver are if your quarterback also kind of sucks. So Allen Robinson, Mitch Trubisky could be throwing to Jerry Rice, and he would still make Jerry Rice suck because he's so bad. Like, he's such a bad quarterback. It doesn't matter who he has on. He's just so bad. And speaking of Mitch Trubisky, he is my bust of the week. Kind of like what Joey said, the Bears' offense is really poor besides Allen Robinson. But he is a poor quarterback with an even poorer offense. He can't just throw it to Allen Robinson every single play. Like, you know, defenses aren't that stupid to just let that happen. So he has to mix it up, and his other receivers aren't really good. They have Darnell Mooney. I know me and Nick talked about him briefly last week. He's a good rookie receiver, but he's definitely is not ready. He's, you know, to be the number 2. He's a rookie, and not a high drafted rookie either. And they have the rookie Cole Kmet, who was the first tight end taken in the draft, but he's also, again, a rookie. So they need to develop their receiving core for Mitch Trubisky if they want to keep him as the franchise. With all that being said, Joey, who is your pick to win this game and why?
I got the Texans winning 24-13. Like I said, Deshaun Watson, he's a great QB. He's going to play well, and Chicago's is not. They're not going to put up much points, not going to do well, and it's mostly going to be the field goal kicker doing all the points for him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think the Texans are going to win. I think the Texans are going to win 21-10, mainly in fact of Deshaun Watson and his gifted ability to play quarterback. And Nick also thinks the Texans will win this game 17-10, again, due to Deshaun Watson and, their whole offense like Brandon Cooks. So let's move into our next game. One I am very happy and excited to talk about. The New York Football Giants, man, pulling off a big upset against Seattle. I was happy watching that at work, seeing the Giants in Big Blue. That was crazy. They are going against Arizona. Arizona's 6-6, and New York, the Giants are 5-7. The Giants are on a winning streak. They've won 4 in a row, and the Cardinals are on a losing streak. They've lost like 3 in a row. And this is definitely going to be a good game. Like you said, Joey, earlier, like one of the first on the Patriots game, you said there's a lot of good games this week. This is another one. This is a very good game. Their records might not show that these teams are just average teams, but like if you actually were paying attention, that the Cardinals need a win to get back into the NFC wild card hunt, and the Giants need a win to stay ahead of Washington in the NFC East because they are the division leaders, and they also need a win to potentially contend with the wild card because they are also one game behind Minnesota. Good news is for Giants fans, Daniel Jones most likely will return this game. It's not confirmed, but it's looking very good. And for Arizona fans, how was Kyler Murray's throwing shoulder? It seems like that ever since that injury happened, the Arizona's been on the skid. As we have seen, they've lost 3 in a row. Well, what do you have to add in this game, Joey? What do you think's going to happen? With the Arizona Cardinals and the New York Giants. Whatever you think, the synopsis, anything, just add on. What do you think's going to happen?
So my personal opinion is that, like last week, if the Giants can beat the Seahawks, they can beat the Cardinals. You know what I mean? And their defense is definitely going to show up. And if Danny Dimes plays, I feel like he's been playing good. He's not fumbling the ball much. He's not turning the ball over, and he looks more polished as a QB. So I think they're going to come on top. But we'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, still a good matchup though.
Yeah, and also, like you said, ever since the Giants have been on this winning streak, Daniel Jones has not turned the ball over once in the last 4 games. So he's definitely – that was his main issue in his rookie year. And the beginning of this year, he was turning the ball over every single game. But he's been fixing that, and that's mainly due to Joe Judge, the head coach, and Jason Garrett, the offensive coordinator. So shout out to them. And the Giants' offensive line's also been playing good. And it's looking good for Giants fans in the future. And I think they might be able to squeak in the playoff berth this year. But you got to remember, they don't have Saquon Barkley, who is their best player. So the future for New York is very bright. Anything you want to add, Joey, before we get into our booms and busts of the week?
Nope.
All right, Joey, who is your boss? Who is your boom this week and why?
So my boom is the Giants defense. They've been playing amazing. They stopped Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? If you could stop Russell Wilson, you could stop anybody. You know what I mean? And I think they're gonna be able to stop Kyler Murray and the Cardinals defense. Even Larry Fitzgerald. I feel like they're gonna cover up pretty good. And I just feel like the defense is just gonna show up.
You almost forgot one key player on their offense, Mahomes. You forgot DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh shoot! Yeah, I think I messed up. Yeah.
No,
did I say Larry Fitzgerald?
You're right though. Larry Fitzgerald, I think he'll be playing. He had COVID, but I'm pretty sure Larry Fitzgerald will play this game. But no, you're right. The Giants' defense is also, and their special teams is also my boom. I think they have been elite the past few weeks. They have allowed 20 or less points in the last 4 games, which is good, especially coming from their defense has improved a lot. I know they played Washington and the Eagles and Cincinnati, which you might not be a lot, but like you said, they held the Seahawks to 12 points, and they didn't score a touchdown to the 4th quarter. So with that being said, their defense has improved a lot since the beginning of the year. And the Giants have been in every single game they've played in besides one, which was the 49ers. So yeah, they're my boom, the Giants defense and special teams. What about your bust, Joey? Who do you think's in the bust in this game?
My bust this week is Kenyon Drake, a running back for Arizona. He's not going to go off. With this tough defense, solid defense that they're playing, they're not going to be able to put the ball on the ground, and you're not going to be able to. You're not going to see a lot of yards coming from these RBs. For Arizona.
Yeah, him and also Chase Edmonds too. Chase Edmonds is also the ever running back for Arizona, and like you said, with their solid defense, I don't think any of them will be able to produce.
Yeah.
My bust is Kyler Murray, obviously the quarterback for Arizona. I don't think his shoulder is completely healed yet, and he will struggle against a hot defense. Like Joey said, if you can stop Russell Wilson, you can basically stop anyone in this league. And I think Kyler Murray will struggle. Who is your pick for this game, Joey, and why?
So I picked the Giants are going to win 21-17. They're on a hot roll right now, and I don't think it's stopping anytime soon. And they're going to get the NFC East. Let's go.
My pick is also the Giants in a somewhat weird score. I think they're going to win 19-16. I think their defense is going to be a very defensive game, especially with a lot of field goals being kicked. But their defense will come through like it has in the last 4 weeks. Nick's pick is also the Giants. He thinks the Giants will win 24-21, and a credit to our defense and the possible returns of Daniel Jones. Excuse me. So, our next game, Joey, you lead us into this one. The Colts and the Raiders. The Colts are 8-4, and the Raiders are 7-5. Joey, lead us into this one about the Colts and Raiders, and just give us the whole synopsis of this game.
All right, so the Las Vegas Raiders came off a heart-racing win, at the Jets. It really looked like they were going to lose that game. The last couple weeks, they're not looking so good. You know what I mean? They lost big to the Falcons. They only scored like 6 points, like 40-6 or 6, something like that. And they come with the Jets, and yeah, they won, but it seemed like they didn't really play that well. They're kind of slowing down. It's like this team could compete with the Chiefs. And it's like I'm a big Raiders fan, so I hate to see it. I hate to see them keep playing worse and worse and worse, but. The main reason is because there's a lot of Raiders defensive players out. I know Jonathan Abrams out, and I know there's another guy out. What's his name? Isaiah Thomas. He was the rookie. He's out too. They both been playing very, very good, and the main components in their secondaries and corners and stuff like that. So you're going to see a lot of deep passes from the Colts. Trying to get some good passes off against the Raiders.
Mm-hmm. And also, Joey, I know you showed me last year. You actually saw the Raiders Stadium being built. Is that right?
Yeah.
And how was that? Did it look cool?
Oh yeah, it looked amazing. Like I love the way it looked, like with the black, the shininess of it. It's like it almost looks like a TV screen, like that kind of black, but like a whole stadium. It's like it's amazing. I love that whole city. I just love it. It fits well in there.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing the Raiders moving in Las Vegas. I know I was talking to one of my mom's friends about that, and he's saying it was great that they moved from Oakland because, like, if you guys don't know, Oakland's like a really shitty city. No offense to anyone listening to this in Oakland, but like it's true, it's like really bad gang wise, and like it's kind of like Compton, California. It's just like not a good city to live in. And the Raiders got out of there, and also their stadium was also kind of crappy. Like it was falling apart. It's a baseball stadium. The Oakland A's play there,
and the city was actually.
And the Raiders
suing.
have. Yeah,
Sorry,
I did see that.
But they were suing the Raiders because of how much like trash the fans were leaving around, and like how much of a chaos it caused.
Yeah, and I actually did see that. That's what I was saying. I do remember someone suing the Raiders. But it's cool that the Raiders have their own stadium in Las Vegas, and it also looks really cool. You can look on pictures online if you haven't seen it. It's like Joey said, it's like a big black dome-looking thing. It looks awesome.
Amazing.
Definitely the coolest looking arena in the NFL off the top of my head. And I feel like with the fans coming back, just real quick before we get into our booms, with fans there, it's going to be even cooler because there's no fans there because Nevada's the Raiders are one of the few teams that can't have fans in their games. But I feel like with the Raider Nation there, man, it's going to be absolutely crazy. Just a bunch of crazy Raider fans going absolutely nuts, seeing them play in Vegas. It's going to be cool next year. Hopefully we can have fans next year.
Yeah. No fans are all fans.
Well, that being, yeah. With that being said, Joey, who is your boom to win this game and why? Or not boom, to win. Your boom player of the week. Jeez.
That's cool. I got Darren Waller. He's a great tight end. He's up there where Travis Kelce is one of the best tight ends in the league. He played great last week. He got I think he got like 20 fantasy points, something like that, which is crazy. And he was Derek's. Oh yeah, sorry. But he uses gun off. Like he was Derek's Carr's favorite target. Because Josh Jacobs is out. You know what I mean? So they have one less star that they give the ball to. So that means that you're going to see Darren Waller get more touches, and I feel like it's going to be the same thing in this game right here. He's going to get a lot more touches and a lot more yards.
Yeah, I agree with Joey completely. My boom is also Darren Waller. I'm a big fan of him. His whole story is very motivating to me. With I know me and Nick mentioned this. His overcoming addiction. He got suspended. Now he's a star tight end because of his drug use. He got suspended because of his drug use. Not he's a star because of his drug use. But he's that's really motivating for anyone that's needs that. He's a great player. He's a great person on and off the field. But I think he's going to boom because he's coming off the best game in his career, and I expect him to continue. He is a very good tight end. He will definitely make the Pro Bowl. He might make an All-Pro team. And he's just, like you said, he's also Derek Carr's favorite target. Who do you think's going to bust this week and why?
So my bust this week is the Raiders defense. And last week, like I said, they almost lost to the Jets, and the defense has been very poor. And they have some players out, like I said, they had Jonathan Abrams out, Isaiah Thomas is out. Jonathan Abrams, I'm pretty sure he's like one of the leading like tackler of like runners and stuff like that, which is crazy for like a safety. And I just without them, like they let the Jets get so many points. It's like no team lets the Jets get that many points. And all season long, they've been letting these teams like get close to them, and win the game, and you just can't have that.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's definitely the weakness of the Raiders. My bust is T.Y. Hilton. He had a good game last week, but besides that, he's been quiet all season. Even though the Raiders have a poor defense, I think T.Y. Hilton will be he will be quiet like he has been, like I said, for most of the season. Who is your pick to win this game, Joey, and why?
So as much as I love the Raiders, and I want them, I actually want them to win. I'm gonna go with the Colts. It's 35-28. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. You're gonna see a lot of offense. But I just don't think that the Raiders are going to be able to contain the Colts offense.
I actually disagree with you, Joey. I think the Raiders are going to win 27-23. John Gruden's a good coach, and the Raiders are going to need a statement win if they want to be in the playoff hunt in the AFC. And lastly, Nick thinks the Colts are going to win 30-21 due to their good defense and Phillip Rivers at QB. Let's get into our next game. Definitely, in my opinion, the worst matchup of the week. Two teams that suck. The Dallas Cowboys at 3-9 and the Cincinnati Bengals at 2-9-1. The Cowboys are coming off a loss yesterday to the Baltimore Ravens on Tuesday night. They got blown out. It was like 34-17. Lamar Jackson looks great. They stand at last place in the NFC East, only by like a half a game. They're right behind the Eagles. They have a chance to win their division if they win these final four games. It's not looking good for the Cowboys, but technically they can still do it. However, their defense sucks. This has been a problem with the Cowboys. In my opinion, it was very, 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 very dumb that they took CeeDee Lamb in the first round just so the Eagles couldn't take him. That was a stupid part on Jerry Jones's part. It doesn't make sense, man. You need defense and you take CeeDee Lamb. As talented as he is, it's just like it doesn't make sense whatsoever. It boggles my mind why they did that.
Exactly.
And that their defense is the reason why they've lost many games, which is just completely true. I mean, they allowed 34 points yesterday, and to Washington they allowed 41 points, which is just unheard of. And lastly, Joe Mixon might return this game, which if he does, that will be a big boost for the Bengals. I know they're out of the playoff hunt, but just to give them some confidence, Joe Mixon's a very good running back. And Giovanni Bernard has just not been producing well ever since Joe Mixon got hurt and since Joe Burrow got hurt. So anything to add to this game, Joey? Or?
Yeah, like you said, both teams stink. And, I know that this may not be like that high scoring and it may not be like two great football teams. But, it still might be. I'm still thinking it's going to be close. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like they both suck, but they're both kind of equal. It'll still be a close game even though they both suck,
Yeah.
With that being said, Joey, who is your boom for this game and why?
So my boom this week is Amari Cooper. Cooper.
You're good. You're good.
He's coming off a great performance last week against a good Ravens defense, and I feel like he'd be a part of the big plays against the Bengals this week. I feel like Andy Dalton's going to find him for some good plays. He's going to get a lot of chunk yardage, everything like that, and he's going to come out for himself. He's going to have a day.
I agree with you. I think that a Cowboys receiver will excel, but not Amari Cooper. I think it will be CeeDee Lamb, the rookie from Oklahoma. He was actually the only Cowboys wide receiver that didn't score last week. Michael Gallup did, and like you said, Joey, so did Amari Cooper. But CeeDee Lamb didn't. He had a quiet week last week, and I think this will be his time where he shines again. Like you said, especially against the Bengals defense, they also are not the greatest. I expect him to. This is his game where he will get back into form and show people like, yeah, I'm arguably the second draft class. What about you, Joey? Who do you think's in the bust this week in this game?
So my bust this week is Brandon Allen, the backup quarterback for Cincinnati. When Joe Burrow got injured, he replaced him, and he's played okay, but he's not that great. I mean, I don't think he's good enough to lead this team to any like W's like for the rest of the season, everything like that. Especially with their O-line, not going to be able to protect him, not going to get the most out of him, and everything like that. So even though they're going against a weak defense in the Cowboys, it's only his third game he played all season. So, I just don't think he'll be able to protect football.
Mm-hmm. I could see that happening. My bust is also another Bengals player. I picked him last week. I'm picking him again. Giovanni Bernard, their running back. Ever since Joe Burrow and to a lesser extent Joe Mixon's gotten hurt, he hasn't had a single good game. Like, you think he would have a somewhat decent game, but like he just isn't clicking. He definitely excels as being a good backup second running back to fill in on like a third down than he is just a main running back. So that's why he wants Joe Mixon to come back ASAP. With all that being said, Joey, who do you think's going to win this game and why?
I got the Cowboys winning 24-16. Both these teams stink, but I just feel like Dallas has just a little bit of better offense. I just think they're just going to come on top.
I agree. I also had the Cowboys winning, as much as that hurts me to say this. I think Dallas is going to win 17-10. I hate the Cowboys, but I guess this will be a good one win they will get. Nick also thinks the Cowboys will win in another low-scoring game, 14-9. And a credit to their Cowboys offense, mainly CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Amari Cooper. So, Joey, why don't you lead us into our next game? The New York Jets at 0-12 and the Seattle Seahawks at 8-4. Why don't you tell us about this one, Joey?
So both teams are coming off a loss. Both teams have a struggling defense, something they have in common. The Seahawks are fighting for first place in their division, and the Jets are just looking for a win. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, the Seahawks defense is their Achilles heel. I think everyone knows that, which is weird. I know me and Nick have talked about this before. They have Bobby Wagner, who's very good. They have Jamal Adams, who's very good. But their defense just doesn't have it, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the defensive coordinator, or if it's just – I know Jamal Adams was hurt, but they don't have it, I just don't know why their defense isn't clicking. It wasn't as bad as it was this year. Maybe it's the defensive coordinator. Who knows? But the defense has definitely gotten a little bit better, though, since they got Carlos Dunlap from the Bengals, I think. They traded for him at the deadline, and he definitely has helped a lot. Pass rushing is on the defensive line. Before we get into our booms, to add on to what you said about the Jets' first win, I think the Jets are going to try to get Trevor Lawrence. I think they might go 0-16. Maybe they win one game, but their one win won't come against the Seahawks. The Jets are just a disgrace. There's nothing else to say. I know me and Nick said this last week. It's like beating a dead horse. Like, it's almost like we don't know what to talk about. Like, there's nothing good about the Jets. They just suck. There's nothing positive about them. I mean, they have Jamison Crowder and Marcus May. That's it. Those are the only two players that are worthwhile speaking. They traded away their best player in Avery Williamson. They traded away Jamal Adams in the offseason. They don't have any future. They need to get rid of Adam Gase. He sucks. They already got rid of their defensive coordinator, which I know you're going to talk about, Joey, in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. So
and
with all that being said, I'll go ahead.
Yeah, I just got to say one more thing. The Seahawks defense is bad, but, I don't think they're that bad, against the Jets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they might be bad, but they can definitely keep the Jets in check. So with that being said, Joey, who is your boom of the week in this game and why?
So my boom for the week is my quarterback in fantasy football, Russell Wilson. He's coming off a poor performance last week but I think he's going to redeem himself. I think he's going to, face this Jets team, and he's going to go off, and he's just going to get a lot of touchdowns and everything like that. Especially the Jets have a really terrible secondary, and which I'll talk about a little bit later. But they give up so many deep balls, and it's just and that's one thing Russell Wilson loves to do is throw the ball deep, and you're going to see a lot of it.
Yeah, and before I get into my boom, especially with the Jets said they gave up that deep ball to Henry Ruggs, which won the Raiders the game last week. So you're completely right on that regard. My boom is the man he'll be throwing to, DK Metcalf. I'm a big fan of DK Metcalf. He's leading the league in receiving yards. He was somewhat quiet last week. James Bradbury mostly kept him in check, but like I said a couple weeks ago, DK Metcalf, who's going to guard him on the Jets? Who's going to guard him? DK Metcalf is going to have a field day.
The invisible
And
football
like you
player.
say, yeah. Who's your bust for this game, Joey, and why?
So my bust is the Jets defense. You know what I mean? They just fired the defensive coordinator. You know, they just fired, Greg Williams. So they probably should fire Adam Gase too. But, I mean, at least that's a start. You know what I mean? So they got rid of
Yeah,
him
that's true. That's
because they called a blitz. You know, when they know the Raiders have to go deep, for the touchdown, and like they should have put all their men back. Only rush 3. You know what I mean? And that's obvious. Anybody knows that. And the NFL coach made that stupid mistake that cost them the game. It just shows why they haven't won a game yet.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you completely. My bust is another Jets player, Sam Darnold. His time in New York is just about over. Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, whoever they pick, will replace him. And like we said earlier, Joey, as poor as Seattle's defense is, Sam Darnold is not good enough, and he doesn't have enough weapons around him to exploit their defense. With all that being said, Joey, who is your pick to win this game and why? It should be kind of obvious.
Yeah, my pick is Seattle. I know it's kind of shocking, but I think they're going to win 34-17. I think that's going to be high scoring. I might be a little bit generous on the Jets side, but I feel like they are going to get some touches because, they're going to get a little bit, but, Seattle's going to go off.
Mm-hmm. I also think the Seahawks are going to win 27-13. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And Nick also thinks the Seahawks are going to win. He has them winning 21-14. Next game we got is the Detroit Lions at 5-7 and the Green Bay Packers at 9-3. The Packers need one more win to clinch a playoff spot, which most likely will happen here. But the Lions are actually still in the playoff hunt. They are only one game behind the 7th seed in the wild card because there are 7 teams in the wild card, not 2. Joey, what do you think about this game with the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, I mean, the Lions, they're not perfect, but they're improving a little bit. Ever since they fired Matt Patricia, they've been playing better, and I think he was a problem from the start, and there, he just didn't fit well, and I still think Packers. I'll talk about it a little later, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I still think the Packers are obviously the better team here. But
Yeah.
no, I agree. Last game was their first game without Matt Patricia, and they came back from the Bears. They beat the Bears, who I thought was going to win last week. And like you said, that's a good start. That's a good sign. Beating a team that's definitely better than you, although the Bears do suck. That was a good start. I don't think the Lions are going to win this game, but possibly the future is bright in Detroit, especially if Kenny Galladay gets healthy. I know he hasn't played in a little bit, which sucks because he's on my fantasy team. I need him to come back. He would be my flex. I have Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill, so I need him to come back for a good flex. So get healthy, Galladay. Come on now. With all that being said, Joey, who is your boom for this game and why?
So my boom for this week is Aaron Jones. He's coming off a great performance last week. He ran for 130 yards and a touchdown. I expect to see him get many carries and have himself a great game against the Lions and everything like that. The Lions defense is kind of on the weaker side, so I feel like he's going to have a game.
My pick is another Aaron. It's Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's the MVP frontrunner, which I definitely could see that, but I think Mahomes is. But second isn't bad at all. I think he is the best quarterback in the NFC this year without a question. He's proving the doubters wrong. He's proving that, yeah, you drafted Jordan Love, but you should have gave me more weapons because this is why. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I think that Aaron Rodgers will exploit the Lions defense like he usually does. He's going to cut them up, slice them up, and just serve them on a fillet. It looks like in Green Bay, they're going to be eating lions on Sunday, man. Those cheeseheads, those crazy people. Who's your bust, Joey, and why?
So my bust, I kind of talked about a little bit when I was talking about Aaron, but is the Lions defense, they won't be able to stop Aaron Rodgers, and his weapons. That's one thing. Aaron Rodgers, he's got a lot of weapons on offense. He's got a lot of people he can hand it off to, throw it to, and I just think that, they're just not gonna be able to stop him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they got Devontae Adams, they got Aaron Jones, they got Jamal Williams, who's another running back, and their tight end's not too bad either. Robert Tonyan, I think that's his name, Tanyan, whatever.
Yeah.
So they're not really household names like the Chiefs, but he definitely does have weapons. Not as good as Patrick Mahomes, but they're definitely there. With that being said, my bust is Marvin Jones Jr. He's coming off a very good game against the Bears, but he most likely will be covered by lockdown corner Jair Alexander, who's having an astounding year. Especially if Kenny Galladay doesn't play, Marvin Jones Jr. will be the clear number one receiver. And like I said, Alexander will be on him if that's the case. If Kenny Galladay does play, maybe Jones will be open more. But I don't think Kenny Galladay is going to play because he has a hip injury, and those take a while to heal. You don't want to mess around with hip injuries,
Yeah. Hips don't lie.
Yeah, right. With that being said, who was your pick to win this game, Joey, and why?
So my pick, I got the Packers winning big over the Lions, 35-17. Like we said, they got a lot of great weapons in their team. You know what I mean? Whether it's Aaron Jones or one of the receivers, Devontae Adams. They're just gonna score. And I don't think that the Lions are gonna be able to even get a stop.
What about me? I have the Packers winning 31-21. I think the Packers are, like you said, are going to completely destroy the Lions defensively, and it won't even be close. But Matt Stafford's still gifted. That's why they got about 21 points. Nick's pick is also the Packers. He's got them winning 28-17. Kind of a no-brainer usually. I don't think the Lions really have a chance here. So yeah, Joey, leads into the next one. The next game is the Falcons, who are 4-8, and the Chargers are 3-9. Go right ahead, Joey. Tell us about this one.
All right, so the Chargers are coming back from a blowout loss. They lost 45-0 versus the Patriots, and the Falcons come back from a loss too against the Saints. And I feel like the Chargers in last game when they played against New England, they did everything wrong. Their defense didn't show up. The offense, Justin Herbert didn't play that well. He was throwing picks, and it was just sad. It was sad to watch.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. That was I did not expect that. I was watching that at work, and I was like, "Wow, what's going on?" Like, I thought the Patriots were going to win, but I didn't think they were going to kill them. And with the Falcons, who they lose to? They lost to the Saints, right?
Yeah.
And they did better than they did the first time they played the Saints, but their defense still got the Saints defense still clamped them up for the most part. With that being said, the Chargers are out of the playoff hunt, and the Falcons are just about to be. The Falcons are. I don't know what's going on with them. I thought they'd be a lot better than 4-8, 12 games into the season, but that's mainly because they didn't fire their coach right away. That does not help their cause at all. Excuse me. With that being said, Joey, who is your boom this week and why?
So I got Justin Herbert. I feel like he's going to go off this week. Yeah, I feel like he played one of his worst game of the season last week against the Patriots. But I feel like he'll be able to bounce back. He's still a rookie, he's still learning. So, and he's been playing pretty consistent throughout the year. Like, if you not look at that game last week, he's been putting up consistent numbers. So I feel like that was his one-off game, and he'll be back this week.
Mm-hmm. My boom is another quarterback, Matt Ryan. He's coming off a somewhat quiet week. He didn't play awful, but he definitely was not putting on numbers to write home about. But I expect him to ball out, especially with Julio Jones most likely being 100%. I know we have a hamstring issue. And like Nick said last week, and it's just kind of common knowledge, you don't want to mess around with hamstring issues. So Julio was probably not 100% in that game. But this game, I feel like he will be 100%. And also Calvin Ridley is also healthy, which also helps his cause. Speaking of Calvin Ridley, Joey, who was your bust this week and why?
Calvin Ridley. And the reason why is because they got Chris Harris Jr. is a lockdown corner, and I'm guessing he's probably gonna be able to stop him. You know what I mean? You can't throw to someone.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris Harris Jr. is a very lockdown corner, like you said. Um, he might be on Julio Jones. I don't know if Casey Hayward Jr. is playing. He's also a good cornerback. Um, if it's, I don't know. I don't really. He was injured, I know, but he might be back. But more than likely, Chris Harris Jr. will be on Calvin Ridley. With that being said, like you said, Joey, he is a lockdown corner, and Calvin Ridley won't. This will be his one game where he gets shut down. My bust is Todd Gurley, um, the running back for Atlanta, obviously. I feel like the Falcons would utilize a pass first offense around Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, and tight end Hayden Hurst. As much as I like Todd Gurley, especially coming off, I don't know, was he injured last week or was he just questionable? Do you know?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure he played though.
Yeah, either he didn't play, or he had like a very poor game because I know he was questionable to play because of his knees because he has arthritis. With
Yeah.
that being said, I think due to his knees, they will have to utilize a more pass first offense. But yeah, with that being said, Joey, who is your pick to win this game and why?
So my pick this win this week is the Los Angeles Chargers, 21-17. And I feel like, yeah, they had a really ugly loss last week. They weren't able to do anything, but I have a feeling that Justin Herbert's going to come out and he's going to play a smooth game and get some touchdowns, and it's going to be close, but I just feel like Chargers going to win.
I disagree with you, Joey. I think the Falcons are going to win 24-20 because of their offense led by Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and Calvin Ridley. Like I said, 24-20. It'll still be a good game, and I still think Justin Herbert will bounce back. Nick thinks the Chargers are going to win. He agrees with you, Joey. He thinks he's got LA winning 17-6. He thinks their defense will shut down Atlanta, and that and that Herbert will also bounce back. We got 4 more games to go. This one they have the same record, and these teams desperately need a win. We got Washington at 5-7, and San Francisco at 5-7. Two teams who are definitely better than their record shows. The 49ers have been dealing with the injury bug. I mean, they got Bosa out. They have Solomon Thomas, I think, is out. They lost to Forrest Buckner, obviously. They traded him. Jimmy Garoppolo's out. George Kittle's out. They just have a lot of people injured, man, which sucks. And Washington needs to win to pull ahead in the NFC East. Obviously, they're in second because the Giants have the tiebreaker over them. And the Niners need to win to stay alive in the wild card race. They're only one game behind the Cardinals and the Vikings. What do you think about this game, Joey, with Washington against San Francisco?
It's another good matchup. You know what I mean? It's still gonna be. I think it's gonna be a close game. A good matchup, everything like that. I'm interested to see if Washington extends their winning streak. You know what I mean, and see if they could get the NFC East. But the 49ers got some stuff at risk too. But I Washington. I'm just excited to see them play.
I'm excited to see them play as well. It's going to be an interesting game to watch. I don't think people, even though their records are bad, these teams, like I said, they're better than their record shows. And with that being said, I don't really know what else to say about this game. It's going to be a solid game. Oh, I almost forgot. Alex Smith. It might be the first time he's played the 49ers with Washington. Don't quote me on that. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is his return to playing his old team. Obviously, they're not in Santa Clara because of Santa Clara's COVID ban. They're going to be playing in Arizona again. But it's still cool to see Alex Smith playing against San Francisco, who he was the quarterback for like 6 years until he got replaced by Kaepernick. So that'll be interesting to watch,
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, Joey, who is your boom this week and why? You have an interesting boom, I see.
Yeah, this is very interesting, for sure. I said Logan Thomas. I know a lot of people are gonna, disagree with me on that one, but he's coming off his best performance of the season versus the Steelers, and a lot of people. And Antonio Gibson is also doubtful. He's a running back for the Washington football team, and because he has a toe injury, and so I feel like Alex Smith is just going to give the ball to Logan more. You know what I mean? So I'm going to expect him to get more plays, expect him to make, some moves and stuff like that. He's probably going to get the ball more. He's going to score some touchdowns. I'm ready to see it.
Oh, yeah. And Logan Thomas, just so guys, for a more casual fan, he is the tight end for Washington. He's kind of not as well known. That's why I said it's a little bit weird when we think of Terry McLaurin, when we think of their offense. But Logan Thomas is very underrated. He might be the second best tight end in the NFC East. He is, like I said, very underrated. And if you need a tight end in fantasy, I would recommend picking him up. He's a pretty good guy. He's a pretty solid tight end. He comes through. My boom is Deebo Samuel, who he had a solid game against the Bills. Ever since he's come off an injury, he hasn't looked like he missed a step. He makes the 49ers passing offense 10 times better, and he is such a versatile player, man. When he can run a jet sweep, I mean, he could probably even line up behind Nick Mullins and become a running back. He's just such a versatile player, you know. And fun fact, Joey, I don't know if you know this, but Deebo Samuel, the NFL Super Bowl record for the most wide receiver. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, obviously last year when they went to the Super Bowl, Deebo Samuel rushed for 53 yards, which obviously isn't a lot, but for a wide receiver, it definitely is.
Yeah.
With that being said, Joey, who is your bust this week for Washington and San Francisco, and why?
So my bust this week, another I have in my fantasy league, Raheem Mostert. He's coming
Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, he's coming off a terrible performance last week against the Bills, and he's playing against Washington, which they have a great run defense. So I don't think he'll be able to do much. And also I'm noticing that the 49ers are not playing him. They're playing other running backs instead, which is kind of confusing. It's like he's not really getting the touches he probably should. And if he's going to play a team with a good defense and they're not going to play him, he's definitely not going to show up.
Yeah, I can see that happening for sure. My bust is J.D. McKissick. Like you said, Antonio Gibson's most likely out, so he will be Washington's main running back. But the 49ers have a top 10 rushing defense in the league, so that is obviously not favorable for McKissick. And I also think he is just average at best. I don't think he has talent that Antonio Gibson does. So with that being said, Joey, who is your pick to win this game and why?
So I got Washington coming on top, 20-14. I just think they've been on a hot roll lately, and they're going to beat the 49ers. The 49ers haven't been looking good lately, so Washington's going to come on top.
I think the 49ers are going to win. I disagree with you. I think they're going to win 20-17, mainly because of their underrated defense and the coaching of Kyle Shanahan. And lastly, Nick also thinks he agrees with Joey. He thinks Washington's going to win. He thinks Washington's going to win 20-13 due to Alex Smith having a comeback player of the year season, which is completely true. I agree with that. He most likely will be the comeback player of the year. All right, so we got our last game before we get into the two primetime Sunday and Monday night games. We have the New Orleans Saints at 10-2 against the Philadelphia Eagles at 3-8-1. Joey, would you like to talk us into this game?
Sure. So we can make a whole podcast just about the Eagles because there's a lot of talk about for them, but they just announced the other day that Jalen Hurts is going to be the new starter for the Eagles, and so the whole Eagles team they need to improve. You know what I mean? They need to improve, and I don't necessarily I know they don't have many weapons, they don't have many good players, but I mean a lot of it is the GM and the coach's fault. Like Doug Peterson, he's on the hot seat. He's most likely going to get fired soon, especially with the way they're playing. He calls the worst play calls. He'll go for it on like 4th and 15 when he's only down by 3. He doesn't make smart decisions, and I don't think he works well in Philly anymore. And they're paying way too much for Carson on the bench, and it'll be difficult for Jalen Hurts because this is his first game starting, and he gets a really good defense in the Saints. So it'll be tough for him, and it'll be tough for the whole Eagles team.
I agree with you. Like we've said in the past, the Saints defense is on a roll. They are a hot defense, kind of like the Giants, and it's not a favorable matchup for a rookie to start in whatsoever. I'll talk about that later with my bust of the week. But I agree with everything you said. Maybe it's time for Peterson to get out of Philly. Howie Roseman, the GM for Philadelphia, is also not making the best decisions, like signing Carson Wentz that big contract. Like you said, I agree with everything you said. The Eagles need to improve, and it's not looking good for the Eagles, not at all. With that being said, Joey, who is your boom for this game and why?
My boom this week is Michael Thomas. While the Eagles defense is pretty good, the secondary really isn't. They give up a lot of long touchdown plays, and just long plays in general. So I feel that Taysom Hill, will be more comfortable throwing the ball. You know what I mean? He will definitely be making throws out of the pocket and scrambling a lot, but I feel like you're gonna see him throw a lot more in this game than he usually does. So I expect more from everybody from the Saints offense to do good this week.
I completely agree with you. My boom was actually Taysom Hill. Like you said, he's getting more and more comfortable every game with the Saints offense. And this might be a hot take, I expect him to have a career day. I expect him to be a top scoring QB in fantasy, especially with the weak secondary you said with the Eagles. And he'll look for Michael Thomas, Kamara, Jared Cook, and Emmanuel Sanders. It should be a field day for him. Who do you think's in the bust this week, Joey, in this game, and why?
So, as much as I like Miles Sanders, he's a really good running back. I feel like he'll bust this week. He won't be able to do much against the Saints defense. He hasn't really done much in the last couple of games for the Eagles anyway, and he's not gonna do well, sadly.
I could see that happening. Personally, my bust is Jalen Hurts, the rookie quarterback. Like we said, this is a tough game for a rookie quarterback to start in. The Saints have one of the hottest defenses in the league, and it's not going to be a good game for Hurts. He has very little weapons and a very poor offensive line. And it's just I don't disagree with them starting Hurts. I think they should have waited because this is not a good game for him to start in. He might have a bad game, and that might ruin his confidence and his morale,
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, Joey, who is your pick to win this game and why?
So, I predict a pretty close game. But I feel like the Saints are going to come on top 24-21. Like we were saying, they have a great defense, and it's Jalen Hurts is going to be put in a really difficult spot for a rookie to play against one of the best defenses, like the best defense in the league with a, really bad offensive line and not many weapons. So, it's not looking good for the Eagles, anytime soon, but I got the Saints on top this week.
I also agree with you. I think the Saints are going to win. I think the Saints are going to win 24-17. Like you said, a very tough spot for Jalen Hurts to be in as a rookie quarterback, and I think the Saints are just going to clamp him up and score a lot of points on offense with Taysom Hill, Kamara, and Thomas. And lastly, Nick also has the Saints winning. He has them winning 27-20 because of Taysom Hill, Michael Thomas, and Emmanuel Sanders, and Kamara, like we said before. All right, man. We have 2 games left. This is the Sunday night game, the primetime game. The Pittsburgh Steelers at 11-1, who lost last week, and the Buffalo Bills at 9-3. Both teams played last Monday. Obviously, the Steelers lost and the Bills won. The Steelers got upset by Washington, which was shocking. I didn't expect that to happen. Did you?
Not at all.
Yeah, it was crazy. And the Bills beat the 49ers in pretty good fashion. Josh Allen arguably had the best game of his season. Some may argue his career. And the Steelers might lose first place in the AFC. Currently, they have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs because of their conference record. Because the Steelers lost to Washington, and the Chiefs lost to the Raiders. So the Chiefs' AFC record is technically worse than the Steelers. So that's how the Steelers have the tiebreaker. But with that being said, both teams can clinch a playoff spot this week. If the Steelers win, they clinch a playoff spot. And if the Bills win and a couple other teams lose, they will also clinch a playoff spot. So with that being said, Joey, who do you think? Do you have anything to add on to what I just said with the Steelers and Bills playing on Sunday night?
Well, like we were saying earlier, a lot of great games this week, and this is surely one of the top ones. That's why it's on prime time. But expect this to be a good game. There's gonna be a lot of people watching, and I'm excited to watch it.
I agree with you. It's going to be a very good game. Who is your boom for this game, Joey, and why?
My boom for this week is Josh Allen. Like you were just saying a second ago, he's coming off one of his best games that he ever had, and I feel like this is his time to shine. He's going up against a good defense, but he has many weapons, and Stephon Diggs, and I just feel like that the Bills' offense will outperform the Steelers.
Yeah. Speaking of Stephon Diggs, he is my boom. He is one of the best route runners in the NFL. If you've seen his route running, dude, it's actually crazy how he just makes any corner look silly. He's very good. And if there's one weakness on the Steelers defense, it is their secondary. they have Minka Fitzpatrick, but really besides Sam, everyone else in their secondary is just like a average. If you think Joe Hayden can guard Stephon Diggs, then you're just crazy. I'm sorry. Joe Hayden cannot guard Stephon Diggs in his route running. Not at all. Who was your pick to bust this week, Joey, and why?
So my bust this week is Juju Smith-Schuster, and the reason why is he's playing against a good secondary, he's going to be well defended, and the Bills know that. A lot of players don't like Juju. Like I know a lot of, it's like either you love him or hate him. You know what I mean? So I feel like he needs to stop making TikTok videos and hit the gym again. You know what I mean? Get faster. But yeah, I just don't see him doing well this week. He didn't do well last week and against Washington, and I feel like he's kind of on a downward spiral, but I just don't see him doing well.
Yeah, my bust is another TikToker on the Steelers offense, Chase Claypool.
Yeah.
Obviously he's having a pretty good year for a rookie wide receiver, but he's going against a good secondary. That just spells trouble. And also if Tre'Davious White is on him, I don't know if he'll be on Juju or Deontay Johnson, but especially if Trey White's on Chase Claypool, that is not good for him because, like I said, he's a rookie and going against an all-pro corner just spells disaster. So with all of this said, Joey, who is your pick to win this game with the Bills and the Steelers?
So my pick to win this game is the Bills, and they're going to win 24-17. Steelers, they're coming off a loss versus Washington, and I feel like they're going to lose some more games. This isn't going to be Washington is not going to be their only loss. You know what I mean? They're going to lose against Buffalo. They're going to lose some more games down the line, and I just feel like their offense will keep pace with Steelers, and Buffalo will just beat them.
My pick is also the Bills. I think the Bills are going to win 17-16. I think it'll be a very close game, a very somewhat defensive game, but in the end, I think Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs will lead the Bills to victory. And lastly, Nick also has the Bills winning this game. He's got them winning the 2017 due to Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Cole Beasley, who is also very good. We didn't even talk about him. Cole Beasley is a very good slot receiver.
Yeah, he's underrated.
Very underrated. If he's on the fantasy waiver wire, he had a good game in fantasy last week. If he's on your free agency, pick him up ASAP, especially with the playoffs coming up.
Yeah.
We got our last game of the week, Monday night game, which is surprisingly going to be a good one. We got the Baltimore Ravens at 7-5 and the Cleveland Browns at 9-3, which is the first winning record they've had in my whole lifetime. I take that back. I think they had a winning record in 2007, so it's been like a long time, 13 years. So, Joey, why don't you talk to us about this one with the Ravens and the Browns?
Yeah, so both teams are coming in with a win, and I was really shocked when I saw Baker Mayfield play. You know what I mean? It's like he stopped doing commercials for once and just like put into work this time. But it's like he was going crazy. He threw four touchdown passes. He threw over 330 passing yards. He looked like a real good QB out there, and he looked like a 9-3 QB out there. You know what I mean? And Lamar Jackson, he's coming off the COVID list and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No. I was just gonna say I completely agree with you. Baker Mayfield played like how he should be as the first overall pick a couple of years ago. He played great. 4 touchdowns, 330 yards. He played awesome. And the Ravens are looking to get into the playoffs. They've struggled this year mainly because of Lamar's not as playing as well as it was last year. But like Nick said in another podcast, that was almost impossible to replicate how good of a season he had. With that being said, Lamar played very good for coming off of the COVID list. He had like 3 touchdowns. I think he had 2 passing and 1 rushing, so he played really well. With all that being said, Joey, who is your boom in this game for the Ravens and the Browns, and why?
So my boom for this game is Lamar Jackson. He's coming off he's coming off the COVID list, and when he played against Dallas Cowboys, and he looked pretty good in that game. You know what I mean? After having a little bit of a break, and I just think he's going to show up, and he showed no signs of regression, anything like that, and Mark Andrews is back. He's off the COVID list now, and he should have an extra target to throw to, and he's going to get some points.
I agree. My boom is also Lamar Jackson. Action Jackson is his nickname, and he played great yesterday against Dallas on Tuesday night. He showed no signs of regression, like you said, Joey. And Mark Andrews, like you said, I'm pretty sure he's coming back if he's off the COVID list, as long as he doesn't test positive again. Like, that helps him a lot. He looked accurate throwing the ball. Hollywood Brown had a good game, and so did Willie Snead. No, Boykin. I think Boykin caught that other touchdown he threw. So, which is surprising because the Ravens don't have good receivers, but everyone on the Ravens offense had a pretty good game. They ran for over 200 yards yesterday, which was crazy. But with all that being said, Joey, who is your bust in this game and why?
So my bust in this game is Kareem Hunt. And the reason why I say Kareem Hunt is he's getting considerably less carries than Nick Chubb has this week, and he's just going to get he's just kind of like the shadow of Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb averages 6 yards per carry, and he will be the Browns' main running back. So you're going to see less and less of Kareem Hunt over the next few games, and he's just not going to do well.
My bust is Marquise Hollywood Brown. Like I said, he had a pretty good game yesterday against Dallas, but Denzel Ward should be back this week. And Denzel Ward is a very lockdown corner who is very underrated coming out of Ohio State. And I don't expect Hollywood Brown to do much. He's a very below average receiver at best. And if Denzel Ward plays, that doesn't help his case at all. So with everything that we just said, Joey, and all the facts on the table, who do you think's going to win this game and why?
I got the Ravens winning 21-18. This should be a good matchup.
That's an odd score. 21-18.
Yeah, very weird.
Do you think the Browns are going to kick field goals, or do you think they're going to get one touchdown?
I think they're going to kick some field goals. You know what I mean? I just feel like they won't be able to
6
finish
field
drive.
goals.
Yes,
I could
Cody
see it.
Parkey could do
it. My pick is also the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to win 28-24. Lamar Jackson, I think he will be back and better than ever. Hopefully Mark Andrews plays, because that will just help the Ravens even more. And lastly, Nick thinks the Browns are going to win, which is surprising because of all the Baker Mayfield slander he says. He thinks the Browns are going to win 27-20 because of the GOAT Baker Mayfield. Nick, I know you're listening to this. You're not going to like that, but admit it. Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback. All right, guys. So just like every week, we finish every week with the game of the week to watch. Joey, for your first game time being on a podcast, what's your game to watch in Week 14 and why?
Well, I'm just going to say this right now. There really is no bad game to watch this week. It's rather if you're watching a game because you got players in your fantasy, or you're just watching the team that you like, or you're just watching a game because it's a good matchup. There are so many good matchups, and there's so many games that are going to be close this week. And it might be one of the best weeks for football in a while. So I'm really excited to watch any game. But obviously Patriots versus the Rams would be a great game. But I feel like the Ravens and the Browns are a must watch almost. It's a game that you should watch, and it should be interesting.
Ravens with the Browns on Monday night. You heard it there, guys. Ravens Browns Monday night. That is Joey's game of the week to watch. My game of the week to watch is the other primetime game on Sunday night, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. Like I said when we talked about them, both teams can clinch a playoff spot, and they're both playing for seeding in the AFC as well, with the Bills being the third seed and the Steelers being the first seed over tiebreaker. So both teams are playing for positioning, and like you said, I agree with Joey completely. There's a lot of good games to watch. There really is no bad game to watch. This is going to be a fun week of football, especially. And finally, our pick record between Nick and I. Nick is 27-18, and I am 30-15. So I am pulling ahead with the lead because Nick doesn't know how to pick Cam Newton because he never believed in him. He doesn't believe in Cam Newton or Baker Mayfield, and besides this week, I've always believed in Baker Mayfield.
I just want to say that I'm undefeated. So.
Oh, really?
I'm undefeated. I got no losses right now. I'm doing pretty good.
With that being said, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Thank you, Joey, for filling in for Nick this week. I'm sure we'll have you on the podcast when Nick is back, so it'll be the three of us. That would be awesome. Mm-hmm. And like I said in the beginning, thank you for making the thumbnails. They look great. And would you like to say anything else, Joey, before the episode's over?
Sure, yeah. I just want to give a big shout out to Will for letting me be on the show. I had a ton of fun doing this. We worked very hard on it, and I look forward to being a part of it in the future. And I just want to give him a big thanks for letting me be on the show, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem, Joey, aka Mahomes, Joey Christmas. Like I said, thank you for making the thumbnails. If you guys haven't seen the thumbnails on the past videos, go check them out, man. Even if you just don't watch the video and just look at the thumbnail, they're very good. They're very you could tell that Joey worked hard on them, so I appreciate them a lot. It makes my videos stand out more. And yeah, like I said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys like the podcast, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Take care.
See ya.